I'm Eric Holt. I am a professor at the University of Denver. We have a real estate and construction management program in a business school, so we're kind of an oddity in a good way. And I always want to bring the latest and greatest to the classroom of what's going on in construction, so that's why I'm following Offsite, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to come here and do this. It's my job to get us out even earlier. So gentlemen, cut about, 5 minutes off of each of your stuff and let's go. I want to introduce our panel. These are all modular companies from the Mountain West area. We got Rick Murdoch from Autovol, Eric Schaefer, who is out of order at Fading West, Justin Stewart from Synergy Module, Bob Worsley from Zenny Home, and Gordon Stott from Connect Homes. Gentlemen, I will let you take it from there. See, we're all, there we go. I don't know if you need that.
I don't, it's just a video.
All right.
Kick off and go. Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Rick Murdoch, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Autovol, modular manufacturing plant in Nampa, Idaho. It's a fully robotic, automated plant that we kicked off in 2018 because we felt like that we needed to change the way we did construction. We knew that there was issues with labor. We know there's issues with quality. We know there's issues with a lot of things right now. And so we decided that it was time to move manufacturing into the next generation. And so we really kicked that off and made that happen. The video you're seeing is just really the type of buildings we do. We're concentrated on affordable housing industry, right? I haven't built anything other than affordable housing since we opened the doors to our facility because I think that's where the need's the greatest. And I think that's where it will always be the greatest because there's a lot more people that can't afford housing that can. So that's really what we wanted to try to focus on. And this was our way of trying to focus on it and get our costing down. I also have a company called Way Paver International. It's really a company designed to build more manufacturing because I'm an industry guy. I've been in the industry now for 47 years. Started in it when I was 20 and loved it and stayed in it my whole life. And so I'm trying to expand that as much as I can. And then I'm a half owner of a company called Prefab Logic. And really that's an engineering services company that does design, modeling, architectural, and everything for the modular industry. So all the companies that I have are all formed to support each other in the modular industry. And that's really where our focus is and with our team. So we focus on affordable housing. Most of what we build is 5-story. Over podium is most of what we build. We've done some 3-story walk-ups, but by far that's probably the most that we've done. The video that you're seeing is a project that we've done in San Jose, California. And I would tell you that to date, everything I have built has been for California, right? Getting ready to build 2 or 3 projects outside of California, but to date, that's where all that's been. So thank you very much. It's my pleasure, and I appreciate it.
Excellent. All right. Eric Schaefer, because I know the slide deck is going into this direction.
Oh, okay. You guys hear me?
Push the button.
There we go. Thank you, Eric. Holt. Dr. Holt. Yes, Eric Schaefer with Fading West. We started as developers in Colorado. So in a small town right smack in the center of the state, right next here to Utah. We started as developers, and we realized that there was no affordable housing in the town of Buena Vista, which is just a small town about 40 miles from, let's say, Copper Mountain or Breckenridge, those areas, ski areas. And so we purchased 22 acres. We replatted the land, which is a whole nother discussion about how difficult entitlements are in lots of cities around our state, and we were able to get to 10 homes per acre. So we read the Missing Middle Housing book by Dan Paralek and hung out with him a little bit to figure out how to do all this. And we're so excited, and then we couldn't find subs and GCs because there's nowhere for those folks to live. So we pivoted to modular. This was about 6-7 years ago, and we started shipping in from Nebraska, over 500 miles. And we started our project, probably the first 75 homes came from other modular factories. After doing it a while, we made every mistake you could possibly make in modular, and you've heard a lot of that discussion already here today. We decided to build our own factory. We miraculously got funded during COVID and built our own factory in Buena Vista, 110,000 square foot factory based on the Toyota Lean system. So really see ourselves as building Camrys and Corollas that are houses. So 20 stations, the boxes move every 6 hours a station. It takes about 9 days to finish a house. So our sweet spot, we do ADUs, but we mainly do 900 to 1,800 square foot homes, and we can do 3-story walk-ups. So a little different model than what Rick is doing with Autovol. And our partners around the state are folks that are in the same exact spot that we are in. There's nowhere to live in the ski towns, period. And so this 80 to 120 AMI is where our focus is. And with the interest rates going up, we have pivoted. So really our partners around the state are nonprofits such as Habitat or Rural Homes, different groups. We also sell directly to municipalities that are in crisis, so they are now acting as developers. So we just sent 60 boxes to Breckenridge, so it's right in the center of town for a 3-story walk-up apartment building there. They're the developer, the town is. We also partner with municipalities like Department of Transportation. They have nowhere for their employees to live, so they'll buy homes from us, or any of the ski places, Telluride Ski and Golf, places like that. And then we also do some of our own developments. So again, we are based on, initially we thought vertical integration was, well, let's be the GC, let's be the people who build the boxes themselves. Let's either be the developer, work closely with the developer, have an in-house architect, have a good relationship with the shipping company, all those things. And then we realized there's a whole nother piece to this. And so really the last 18 months, what I have been doing is now partnering with the state. Our governor would say that there's no such thing as an affordable house in the state of Colorado. It's impossible to get there, and so that's why none of them are being built. John spoke earlier about a bill that we both worked on called the IHA bill, which was a $40 million bill for factories to access in-state. And I would say, especially for the Utah folks in here, I can imagine most of the things I'm saying resonate with the folks from Utah. We're very similar states, I think. Very easy to remember this, Proposition 123, and that was just passed, and that's going to go up to about $320 million a year of state money going to affordable housing, and we got a couple lines in there so that it's advantageous to use modular using this bill. So every one of the projects for this entire year plus projects in 2024 will be affordable housing projects coming out of our factory that will be going around the state of Colorado. We get lots of calls, interestingly, from Wyoming, from Montana, from New Mexico, and none from Utah. So that is not scientific. That's just, I'm on calls all day long, and that's where all the interest is in modular at this point. So nothing yet from this state, but maybe that'll change after conferences like this. A shout out again to so many of the folks in the room who you have heard present. We were not in modular, and we have accessed ModX, all you guys, Ryan, Kolker over there, looking at all the things you put out on social media, all the academic McKinsey report, all that kind of stuff, which is really our business model. That McKinsey report from, what was it, April 2020 maybe, or 2021, which talks about how a model would look. So I think the other thing that I would want to stress is we got into this. We are not modular people, but we see this as one of the ways to move forward. Governor Polis in Colorado says, housing policy is water policy, it's transportation policy, it's education policy. We can just go down the list. So for us, we are trying to build communities that any of us would want to live in, not a series of row homes that are architecturally not up to speed, but communities that are growing and viable, and that's really the goal of Fading West. Thanks.
Excellent. All right, Justin Stewart.
All right, before I get into who, I'm just going to start with a little story that gets at why. So it's 8:15 in the morning on a Friday, and I'm just walking out of the office kitchen with a hot cup of coffee, and my cell phone rings. And I look down and I smile, because it's one of our affordable housing clients that we've been working with on a particular project through pre-con for about a year. And we're right at the point to kick off. And so I answer the phone with enthusiasm, and my enthusiasm wasn't met. Instead, I hear these three things. The costs are now too high. We don't know where the additional funding is coming from. Project's on hold till we figure it out. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, because this wasn't just any project. This is a client, an affordable housing client that we've been working with for over 20 years at this point in time. This particular project was for homeless veterans. So every day we didn't start that project, veterans were sleeping on the street because we couldn't do our job. We couldn't do the job that people trusted us to do to bring predictability to the housing process. We didn't know how we were going to solve that, but all we knew was whatever it took, we were going to figure it out. And that's what led us into what we're doing right now. So with that, I will go through this pretty quickly, because this is a slide deck from a much longer presentation. So you don't need to read any of that. All it says is my parents started Synergy when I was 8 years old. I went to work for an outside GC at a W-2 time card job before my 13th birthday. Joined the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers before I went to college, just because I wanted to work on Safeco Field. Unlike others, I did think being a construction worker was cool. I was a superintendent. I've been a project manager. I've built thousands of units. That is just, the point of it is what you just alluded to, and everybody in this room, and thank you, Ivory, for what you're doing to put this on, is we're all advocates for this industry, and we're all open and accessible. All of the knowledge we have, we were more than happy to share. We want to share. There are no competitors in this room. There are no competitors in this industry. We are 4 or 5% of a multi-trillion-dollar industry. We need everybody to be successful. We need everybody to be able to figure out. We're also an immature industry. We need everybody to be able to figure out contracts, financing, regulation. We're all in this together. So, 33 years in business, that one call led us down that path towards modular. What we were looking for was predictability. And we looked through every different option we could possibly find, every different software option, every different project management methodology, and volumetric modular was the only thing that we could see. That was back in 2015. That was the only thing we could see that could move the needle. And we spent the next 2 years in considerable investment just going to every modular project we could find. A lot of them were Gurdons at that point in time. In 2016, Marriott launched their modular initiative, which helped quite a bit, as they put on quite a roadshow of education, and we got to meet with every GC, every developer, every architect going through that process, and we were developing our own list of best practices. So we started our first modular project towards the end of 2016. It was a 50-unit affordable housing project. Generally successful. It was about cost neutral, site built, certainly saved a couple months. When we got done, we just took a deep post-mortem, just starting with the end, and said, if we were going to do this again and have an ideal outcome, and nothing is sacred, what would it look like? What would our processes look like to start this over? And by the time we got done with that exercise, it didn't even resemble how we traditionally develop and GC projects. And so we said, well, we have two options. We either never do this again, or we create a second company and only do that. So that's what we have today. We have Synergy Incorporated, been in business more than 33 years, headquartered out of the Seattle area, builds about 30 to 40% of everything we build is capital A affordable housing. We also build general commercial construction and healthcare and you name it. Synergy Modular is more of a Western United States-based company, and we are 100% focused on volumetric modular and prefabrication offsite and modern methods of construction. We took our VP of operations at that time over the entire company, relocated him to Austin, Texas, built the entire company around offsite modular processes, and since, we'll get into this a little bit, we've now have a little bit of experience under our belt. So this was that first project we talked about. As you can see, it was designed kind of funny. It was designed longitudinally, and this is back in 16. Champion was originally involved in this project and just walked away from the developer kind of midway through the process. And Gurdon picked it up, finished the design, and they stuck with what Champion had started the design with. Obviously, it's not the most efficient way to build multifamily housing, but again, generally successful. It was about cost neutral at that point in time and certainly saved a couple months. We made a pretty big jump in our second project. This is a large-scale student housing project in San Marcos, Texas. That is all volumetric steel modular construction on a podium. Even the podium was using the DiversaCore, somewhat of a modular system. It's a leave-in-place steel form system to speed up the build of the podium. This is a unique model, so it's not just for housing. This is a permanent 12,000 square foot office building that we built. It's a special use case. So right behind there, Reliance Metal Center is running 3 shifts steel production facility. So they couldn't have any disruption in their operations. Inside that building was a pretty old, dilapidated office. So we went in, put in all of the infrastructure and foundations for this building, came in with minimal disruption to all of their shipping to set these buildings, finish them up on site. Then over a weekend, they were able to move from their inside dilapidated office into the brand new offices outside. Then we went inside and renovated their existing offices to make them, new again. So it was just an interesting use case for modular. This is the exact same model here in Riverside, California. That's a sister company to Reliance. Go. Oh, that one too. This is a multifamily project we just finished in Phoenix, Arizona. This was actually shipping containers. I swear I'm hitting the button. And go. This is a project we're currently under construction on over in Sunnyvale, California. And this kind of goes to what somebody was saying before about whether modular was just for affordable housing or if what range it had. So this is a very top-of-the-line hotel that is going into Sunnyvale, California. It's also an interesting project because it's about a $100 million project where 2/3 of it is a large-scale renovation of all of the existing campus. There's also brand new restaurants being built on site and brand new community areas. And then one of the buildings we demoed, put in new foundations, new utilities, and we're putting in a 6-story steel modular hotel tower in its place. And this hotel brand is a very high, this is a $500 to $1,000 a night hotel that wants modular construction for the quality of it. This project is one that we're just about to get going on. Well, it's currently being built in a factory. But the site work is, we did a groundbreaking ceremony, but we'll actually be starting the site work there just after the first of the year, it sounds like. This is in really interesting use case. So this is downtown Mesa, Arizona, and Bob, I'm certain we'll talk about this, but it's right on Main Street. Now this is urban infill, so this is going to break some molds here. Urban infill podium, but the units are a product. It's a Zenny Home product. And so Zenny Home, for those of you who don't know, and I'll leave this to Bob, but they have two floor plans. And you can buy one of these and put it in your backyard. You can buy 8 of them and have a short-term rental solution. You can buy 50 of them and have an affordable housing solution. In this case, we got 93 of them getting stacked on top of a podium is 65 feet in the air. So they work as a standalone unit, and they also work in a stacked formation.
So Justin, because of time, this is a great transition.
There's one more.
All right, one more.
It's actually 2 more, but
Okay,
this one's important. So this is one that we just set up in Big Sky, Montana. So talking about the Mountain West. So the very short build season. We worked with Gurdon on this project. This was 5 buildings, over 300 beds of workforce housing. We broke ground there middle to late May. By August, we were setting the boxes. We set 216 units with ProSet in 3.5 weeks, hitting 22, 26, and 28 boxes in a day, which is only made possible, with really good team, but a ton of prior coordination with Gurdon, ProSet, us. And then this project, which I want to just give a little information on. It's a project we just finished. We're doing a tour of it next week if anybody wants to come up to Seattle. Just finished up in Seattle. This is the affordable housing case study project that I mentioned earlier. So this project, as you can see, difficult site. This is Highway 99. It slopes about 30 feet front to back. This is a 30-foot shoring wall on this side. Utilities are actually running under the highway. So we had to come in, excavate that down to the shoring. There's a detention vault back here, then bring the podium back up. That took about 7 months of work. That put us setting the boxes in January in Seattle. NRB built these boxes. Their waterproofing details are fantastic. There's not one drop of water, and we set that entire thing in January in Seattle. And the bigger point of it is, it's 100 units of affordable housing, bonded, prevailing wage, certified payroll, delivered final cost of $265,000 a unit.
That's awesome. So what I heard there multiple times, Justin, is you're using other modular manufacturers, the collaboration due to, and we'll get into that, but that's a great transition to Bob Wosley with Zinni Homes.
And you did Zinni Home. That's great. So I heard somebody earlier say this industry needs some R&D. So consider us kind of out there. I'm sure all the guys that have been in the industry are saying, "What the heck are you guys doing?" So basically, here, let me just tell you what we're doing. Zinni Home. Let's see which one is.
The button that's not marked is the button you push.
Okay, it's worn out. We have a team here, besides Mindy Rex, that helped AutoVol get off the ground. Most of us are CPAs, and a couple of guys have created billion-dollar companies, housing companies. Invitation Homes is now a $26 billion company. Jerry Coleman just joined our board. He's done 3 unicorns and taken them public. Stephen James is the chief vision officer for a $7.5 billion company here in town called Larry Miller. He's the chief vision officer for Daybreak. He started Daybreak here in Utah 20 years ago. And so he designed our homes. Down at the bottom, you'll see a Trevor Barger. He designed DC Ranch, Verrado, Eastmark, and Phoenix. Equally significantly huge housing developments. So we have people that know housing, but we're trying to take a completely different approach on prefab homes. So what we're doing is we're trying to build like a car. We're trying to build a Tesla house. And we've gone all steel. We call it fast housing, which is factory built, full of advanced technology, all the smart home features you can imagine. I'll show you in a minute. Sustainable, recycled steel, et cetera. Stackable, we're currently this project that Justin is the GC for. I think we're 80 feet in the air at the top of this building. But it's 5 stories of steel volumetric units, the same ones we put on the ground for ADUs, but they're stackable. And all the steel necessary for that building is in the walls of the module. There's no exoskeleton that holds it up. We bolt them together. And then they're transportable because they're the size of a shipping container. We never touch a shipping container, but we ship 20 foot by 8 foot by 10.5 foot tall shipping boxes that are transportable on trains, ships, and trucks with no permitting. And the modules fit together and bolt together. So with that, we're addressing what we're all here for today. By the way, we had one of these yesterday. I was from 4 to 6 o'clock in Phoenix doing this yesterday. This is 100 times better than what Arizona put together yesterday. I have to just compliment whoever put this together. 100 times better than the conference we had last night. I don't think anybody left with any hope for affordable housing last night. And we have over 40,000 inquiries, 40,000 units. 75% are multifamily guys. They're just going, I can't do any more on site. I can't get trades. It's just too expensive. 22% though are government. We've got $500 million of CARES money and ARPA money on the Navajo Nation, and they're signing contract for us to deliver 1,000 affordable homes on the Navajo Nation. And then about 3% of it comes from ADUs in the backyard, kind of casitas. We're kind of getting some attention from Forbes and Builder Magazine, et cetera. People are saying they're willing to go to smaller. They're calling it simple sizing. Sometimes it's downsizing, but a lot of people are saying, I don't need the McMansion anymore that I had in the past. I don't want to take care for it. I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to have the pool maintenance and all that stuff that goes with it. So this is what we do that's different. This is why I call us a little bit of an R&D from what Kurt does over here. Everything's steel, no wood. Everything's built so it can stack. Even if you're putting a casita in the backyard, it was built to stack 80 feet in the air. And we only build 2 units, and we will not let the architects change the plans. I'm sorry, guys. No snowflakes at Zenny Home. It's only 1 of 2 models, and we're building the lines at the factory to look like a Tesla line. Here's a steel chassis, like a car chassis, and here's what we do to it, and at the other end, it comes out as a home. And so we have a studio and a 2-bedroom unit. That's it. Don't call us. We had a lady here that called me about 6 months ago with her company, and they tried to get us to do something else. I said, nope, we're not going to do that. If you want to buy our 2 units, we'll sell them to you, but we're not building anything else. And so that's a multifamily version there, and then just 2 on the ground as ADUs. We call this fast housing because it is factory built, but the advanced tech on the inside is unparalleled, sustainable, stackable, and transportable. And so we were told by the Tesla engineers, do not automate your first factory. So we're building everything manually. You don't see a single crane in 70,000 square feet. No cranes, it's forklifts. We're doing everything very manually while the plan settles down and we find out constructability. We built 20 of these now. We're currently building the units for the multifamily project at the factory. This is us signing a 75-year lease with the Navajo Nation. We took over the largest coal plant west of the Mississippi. And the 1,000 guys that were let go next to Lake Powell and Page, Arizona, they are now working for us. We have 125 in our factory. We have 300 waiting to come to work for us. And this is them signing a 75-year lease. We got a great deal, and they're very excited about building on the Navajo Nation with 50% unemployment. We put together a digital twin of our expanded factory that'll make 25 homes a day. And if we can get that to work, there's a little, yeah, this is going to take too long, so I'll just talk over it while it's going. We have 1,000 acres, a whole bunch of paved areas for the coal plant, and the Navajo Nation is just leasing us as much of that as we want. We've got as many unemployed workers as you would ever want. The white building there is the one we're using today. Behind it, we'll build a tilt-up 300,000 square foot building that has been designed by folks that were involved with Autoval, Lars over in Sweden. And this will build, because we're building one thing over and over, we'll build 25 homes a day out of this facility. And only 80 employees. on a shift. So it'll be very much like a car factory. We can skip past this. Okay. Perfect. Next slide. There we go. So the advanced tech from FAST, we have IoT, smart home, lights, everything, transforming spaces. This is MIT technology, making beds disappear into ceilings. We think if you can make a small home work livable, that you can then provide an affordable home to people. If it's still going to be big, it's still going to be expensive. So we're going small. It's not tiny home, but it's small. And then we're using a lot of environmental technology. Okay, this will show you how this is how it works. This is MIT's product. Beds that go up and down, closets that open, walls that move robotically. We have 4 times more energy efficient than a normal average U.S. home. 2 times the lifespan because it's all steel. It's capable of being 100% off-grid. Solar, batteries, black and gray water recycling, different plumbing systems. We get water from the air. We take atmospheric water harvesting to be able to do water off-grid. We're 100% electric. We're not using gas in the units because California doesn't want gas. And then just to wrap up here, again, it's stackable. We use steel. That's our chassis for half of a home. And that becomes the car that goes down the line. And then it's transportable. We deliver it to the site. And I think we're the only guys that can top pick. We don't bottom sling. These top pick off of 6 points and swing into position and then bolt into position. They show up looking like a container on the back of a flatbed. They're beautiful on the inside. People feel like they feel much bigger than they expected. We'll have 4 factories in these locations, which means we can serve about 90% of the Canadian and US population. And we're looking to save 30% of cost for developers and 50% of schedule. And that's it. Thank you.
That's amazing. That's awesome. All right, and last but not least, Gordon Stott with Connect Homes.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much. Nice to meet another top picker. Yeah, so that's in Greenfield, actually, but the end of the presentation. Can we go back to the beginning? Thank you. Awesome. So Connect Homes is a vertically integrated modular prefab housing provider. We're based in Southern California, so you're wondering maybe why I'm on a panel with distinguished people from the Mountain West. It'll become apparent at the end of the presentation. So what we try to do is we turn different housing types into beautiful products, beautiful housing products that are more affordable and accessible to all of us. So we've done 124 houses as of last week. We've done 24 houses this year alone, along with 300 shelter units of housing that we've delivered. Most of these projects have been in California. We have delivered as far away as Connecticut. We're really excited to say that this month we'll be shipping our first of 6 houses to Texas, which is very exciting for us. What differentiates us, which is also similar, I guess, to any home, is that we treat housing as a product, and everything flows from that. Assembly line production, steel moment frame construction, building to at least 90% completion in the factory, everything, and also delivering and installing on site what we build in the factory. Everything supports the sort of product modality. An example of the productized nature of our homes. In the month of July, we delivered 6 homes to Sonoma County. 3 of them were Connect 6Ls. Those are 2,000 square feet worth of house. All the houses, all the Connect 6Ls are identical, except the steel moment frame lets us move our glass around the perimeter of our non-load bearing walls, so the clients can tune the house standard plan to their site. We've also taken this product platform approach to expand into rapid deploy critical housing for those experiencing homelessness and disaster recovery. This is a 170-bed facility with 10,000 square feet of community building. In Victorville, it's just going online in the next month. It's so incredibly rewarding to be building this incredibly high-quality steel frame structure and serving such a need. Ultimately, it's really rewarding to me as an architect that, you know, this is arguably sexier than a lot of our houses. So here I'm going to move forward. So yeah, a lot of pinch me moments at Connect Homes. You know, quite literally building for the most fortunate people on the planet. You know, one of their standard homes is going down our assembly line, and right behind them, the very next thing is housing for someone experiencing homelessness. And it's the same prefab platform. It's the 98% the same DNA. We're talking heating and cooling systems, steel frame. Our commercial window package is the same. Just the same level of quality, serving pretty much the most disparate users, almost conceivable. This is something that we're seeing at Connect Homes, which is really, really exciting. Because ultimately we started to kind of try to make modern design and giving people access to light and air. That was really sort of the mantra when we started Connect Homes. So the productized approach allows us to produce at a fast volume, although not in 5 minutes or 2 minutes. Everybody's been quoting some pretty amazing figures. It's very impressive. We build 2,000 square feet of housing every 6 working days currently in our facility. That's taken to at least 90% completion. The efficiencies don't stop there because we do deliver and install what we build in our factory. We are right now averaging about 80 days on site after delivery to kind of turnkey move-in.
Hey, Gordon, I hate to cut you off,
Okay.
buddy, but you said you had some big news.
Yeah. Okay, so,
Skip to that.
okay, I will do that. So the pros, yep.
Skip the slides and skip to the news.
Okay, yeah. We got a great new Pro Series. Check our website, pricing's there. 95% in the factory. I'm happy to click through, it takes time.
Well, just, what's
Okay.
the news? Do you need the slide for the news?
Yeah. Here we go. So our news is we're expanding to Mesa, Arizona. We're putting a new factory in the Mountain West. We're going to be operational Q1 of 2024. It's going to be 3 times the size of our facility in California. And we're going to be able to manufacture up to 5,000 square feet of housing per week. So we're also hiring, and we'd like to thank Mesa and Ivory Innovations.
Fantastic. That's great news. All right. In the essence of time, for the guy in the back, let's just, no slides. Let's make everybody panic here. All right? So we've got some prompts for you guys, talking about offsite affordability, specific things. We gave you these 2, but you only got now 2 minutes to give us your answer. So, Justin, how does a modular construction process and timeline afford housing affordability?
In 2 minutes, speed round. Okay, so going back to the process, when I say it's completely different, for affordability, the second a developer looks at a piece of property, and when they're typically developing multifamily, they're going to get massing options. From those massing options, they're going to assume some level of net rentable efficiency. They're going to take that against a market study that's going to tell them what those units will rent for. In those 3 steps, which happens on every multifamily development out there, they have just gotten rid of most of the benefits of modular. And it's what every developer does to start a project. So when we say it's completely different, we mean it's completely different. If you start from a blank sheet of paper and you design optimal units, similar to what Zenny's doing, similar to what Connect's doing, similar to what the factory product that AutoVol has is doing similar. I'm sure you guys have standardized units. You take optimized units and you truly optimize them for sustainability, for affordability, for the livability, for the technology, the daylighting, the air quality, the embodied carbon. But by doing that, you also made them manufacturable because they're repeatable. You use those units and you aggregate them together into a massing, and now you've just created housing much more affordably. So little a, you've just been able to build. So if a developer comes to us and they have a site and they want 220 units of housing, we can build that in roughly half the cost of what a site built builder is building for in a lot of California right now, using that method.
Fantastic. We gain some time back. You win. All right. Bob, off-site versus on-site construction. How does that affect housing affordability?
Great. So he's ready to start doing the podium. Okay? I'm building units. I have bathroom tile being laid, toilets being set in every one of the 90 units today, glass, doors, cladding. Who does cladding in the factory? I do all of that while he's pouring a podium and letting it cure. What he just did in Montana, ProSet's coming with him to set our units. We have 180 boxes landing there with a central crane, and I don't even want to ask him how fast they're going to go, because those 180 units, if they go as fast as Montana, that building with finished move-in units will take a couple of weeks to set. Now, how do you do that without getting a crew in to do bathroom tile, to set cabinets, to do flooring, all that stuff that's done in the factory? And I'm doing that when he's pouring concrete. That's how you save time, off-site versus on-site.
And you saved a minute. That's excellent. So, all right. Rick, how does code compliance in the manufactured facility and quality assurance plans affect affordability?
Quality, just to match the codes. We have to match every code there is in every municipality all across every state we work in. So I could tell you that years ago in the manufactured housing business, it was so easy, right? We had one code, you could go anywhere. So it's a challenge. So we design our code manual that we're going to follow through in the manufacturing plant. We have our own QA department with a manager and QA inspectors that inspect every station in the plant. We link those up with our supervisors who are responsible for the quality, and our QA is responsible for quality assurance to make sure we get that. We combine that with a third-party inspection agency that works off of our manual and their manual. We have a sheet that goes along with every module, tells you every single thing that was found in the module, what the corrective action was that was signed off, and by the time that we get done, we've inspected everything from the module prior to it was being covered up. It's been approved by the third-party agency, and labels been given to us, and the file we keep for an extraordinary length of time on the unit. And how that saves cost is we deliver a great product without a lot of issues, and everything works.
Fantastic, sir. Excellent. Mr. Schaefer, how does project finance logistics in your world affect affordability?
Finance logistics, yeah. So again, one of the struggles that we're finding is that since none of these projects pencil, then our job now is also helping the client figure that process. So there are banks in Colorado that are able to do lower loans. We have a group called CHAFA, which is state funded, so you can get lower loans. You can get rebates on heat pumps, all those kind of things. So that is one piece to the puzzle. To do an affordable housing project, 40% of the cost of the project is what the box cost is. About 35% is what happens on site, so that's your GC who's doing the foundations and podiums, whatever it is, and then 25 roughly percent comes from entitlements, tap fees, all those things that are imposed upon each group. And so, one of the things we get a lot of pushback on is can't you make your product a little cheaper or just cheaper? You say you're affordable. Well, we're just 40% of the pie, so we need everybody in that piece of pie to be lowering costs to make this happen. We heard a great presentation on the finance earlier, and it's kind of a black hole to me, but bonding issues, all those kind of things. So we are, at this point, relying on the state and some federal funds even to get these projects done. And again, most clients, if you're in a small town somewhere and you are the town manager and you have a second job and you're now being thrust into the role as a developer, we're having to handhold almost every client through this process because we live it every day, and it's still really difficult. For them, it's almost impossible.
Fantastic, sir. Thank you. All right, Gordon. How does productization of modular solutions affect affordability?
Yeah, well, I think that we've seen a couple different instances of this. Everything from approvals, timelines, to, with us building at the rate that we're building, 2,000 square feet of housing every 6 working days, we have to be selling faster than that. And when we go faster, we'll be needing to sell even faster than that. So being able to sort of like work through client choices, be able to sort of specify a design in a timely way so that it can be built incredibly quickly. I think the only really real way to sort of build efficiently is on an assembly line. And so you have to really sandbox the choices to make all of that possible. But again, like it's thinking through the entire process from end to end, doing as little work as possible on site, making a stronger product so that overall affordability is paramount when comparing value propositions versus going standard site build construction.
Fantastic. Thank you for playing modular housing affordability speed dating. So, Jenna, do we have time for one question? One question from the audience to any of them. Right here.
I was wondering, Connect Homes,
Yeah.
is it going to be a second location or?
It is a
Okay,
second
so
location.
you're keeping your one in California?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That was my only question.
Thanks for your question.
We got time for one more. Going once. In the back.
Outside of Audible, because I think it's all automated, what does labor and getting your talent and having skills look like for the rest of
Did you guys hear all that? Outside of Audival, with the automation, what's the other factories, labor,
Yeah,
and
I'll start real quick. We have about 120 on the floor, 120 folks. Mountain towns, hard to find labor, so we have about 70 that we have hired from West Texas and New Mexico. We had to provide housing for them. We do ESL classes. We find churches for them. We find schools for them, and lawyers to get green cards. So it's complicated.
you don't have to do that with robots, do you?
Yeah, and for us, we had 1,000 high-skilled craftsmen, code welders, code plumbers, et cetera. Hired 125 of them. There's 300 more waiting to come to work. So going to a opportunity zone where there's high unemployment versus a very, very busy labor market. We didn't come to the Salt Lake area because we know it's hard to find people that are out of work here. There's 120,000 people, jobs that can't be filled out of the Wasatch Front right now. Arizona has 150,000 jobs that can't be filled. The Taiwan semiconductor plant can't find people in Phoenix to go to work that want a job. So we went to a place, we're going to Eastern Kentucky as well for the same reason. There's 10,000 unemployed coal workers. So go where there's unemployment and you can hire people for $20 an hour is a great wage. And they come to work every day for us in that range.
Fantastic. All right, I'm going to cut everybody off because we got update. No, you went over your slides already. You're done.
real fast because this is impactful. So this is for going back to the finance side, when they were talking about the risk of a factory. That project that we showed up there, we lost our modular supplier a month before we closed. We were able to, because of the design, because prefab logic was involved in the design early on, we were able to move that from Nashua to NRB inside of that month, didn't lose a day on the schedule, and actually saved some money on the exchange rate. So it isn't always that much of a risk.
Fantastic. Excellent. All right, give our panel a round of applause.